going on, everybody? We are back here to finish up our rewatch of the entire MCU. This one right here is Captain America Winter Soldier. Probably one of it might be like people that watch this review or whatever. This is probably going to be one of their top five, maybe even top films of the entire MCU. Some people even have this rated maybe even over a couple of the end game and stuff like that. So let's get into it, guys. We'll start with you, Adelia. Adelia, go ahead, bust out those like first kind of just overall reactions for the film after you rewatched it.
Well, first off, I didn't get a chance to rewatch it. I've been on 4 planes this week going to my aunt's funeral and back. But I love this movie and I wanted to talk about it. So that's why I'm on here. This is my second favorite MCU movie. I have it behind Endgame, but ahead of Infinity War. It was my favorite until Endgame came along. I just think it's really well done. I think the political thriller aspect of this film is really interesting and intriguing. I watched this as someone who didn't look up who the Winter Soldier was and didn't have that knowledge from the comics. So I got completely blindsided when it was Bucky, um, and in the best of ways. I just think there's a lot of really, really good stuff about this movie, and excited to talk about it.
Yeah, Matt,
Um,
go ahead, bust us out, man. Thank you.
this movie's like The Dark Knight. It's one of those comic movies that's so good that it didn't have to be a comic book movie. Like you could have had other characters in here, and the story's compelling and stuff like that. That you know what I mean. Like it would have probably like done well because these movies are really good. Especially this one is yeah, it's a political thriller and it's an action movie. It's dope. This is like probably other than like yeah maybe Endgame and I don't know. This is like peak Marvel, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know if they could write better stories than this one. Maybe.
Yeah, man. This one right here was always pretty well received by fans and I think critics alike. We got it was done in 2014, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
It made over 714 million at the box office, which was kind of low when you think about it, because like when you start comparing it to some of the movies that come out later. Because I think this movie looked very good, all that kind of good stuff. Like definitely worth like the money they spent making this film. You could tell that they spent money on making it and all that good stuff. Uh, but it seems like this movie's better than what the box office number kind of says. But that's still because we're still sort of at the more beginning stages, of the MCU. And at the time, the only movie to make like over a billion, I think, box office wise, was actually the first Avengers, which we've already done. Uh, yeah, and like I said, the Rotten Tomatoes and stuff, approval rating of 90%, 7.7 out of 10 was like the average. So yeah, it done very well there. And then on Metacritic, it was 70 out of 100. So yeah, pretty good scores all around. A lot of people enjoyed this movie and everything else. My and I really do like the movie. I think it's a perfect balance of like you got two or three big action scenes in the film, but in there, like Adelia brought up, was some decent political thriller that you wouldn't expect to have like in a movie like this. That's supposed to be just a lot of action and everything else. It kind of gave you both, and I think it did a pretty good job at both of those. But yeah, guys, let's talk about. We will start with the positives first on this one because I think there are more positives than negatives, and we'll jump into some negatives. So, Adelia, what do you think? Like your biggest like positives, like about the film were?
I think this is one of the best acted Marvel movies. I'm not just MCU movies, but Marvel movies in general. You've got Robert Redford in here playing Alexander Pierce, and I think he does a phenomenal job of bringing that like gravity to the situation, being the villain, being the bad guy. Um, the scenes between Steve and Bucky, where he's trying to get Bucky to remember him, are heartbreaking until Bucky finally does kind of sort of remember him at the end because he saves him, but you don't really see that. I think that's really well done too. And I really like all the stuff with Nick Fury in this, where he is, being what Tony said in the Avengers. He is the spy. He has secrets from everybody, no matter who you are. And I like how Alexander Pierce is trying to weaponize Fury having those secrets to neutralize a whole bunch of people that Hydra wants out of the way. I think that's really well done too.
All right. Do you have like a favorite? What was your favorite scene?
My
Was it the
favorite
Bucky?
scene. My favorite scene is that first time Steve finds out that it's Bucky.
I got.
Bucky says, "Who's Bucky?"
I
That's
had.
great.
I have one critique of that particular scene. I guess I'll go ahead and do that now.
Okay.
And that's it. When I didn't notice the first time I watched it. Even the first couple of times. But in this rewatch, I noticed that like Captain America kind of throws him off, like knocks him away from him, and that's at one of those scenes, and that's when his mask thing that he had on comes off, but you still can't see him because he's kind of like facing away, and Captain America's mouth is already agape, like he already
Oh, it's
knows.
like an editing thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so like he already knows, and then like you have him slowly turn around to do the face reveal for everyone, and Captain America is literally keeping the same facial expression he had after he knocked him off of him because it was supposed to be the shock thing, but it is
Yeah.
what it is. Matt, man, let's go over some of the positives that you liked about the film, and maybe like your favorite scene.
Yeah, this movie with the discovery that Hydra was infiltrated Shield a long, long time ago, it changed like the whole scope of their situation. You know what I mean? Like everyone was on the run after that. Uh, it even hit the TV show Agents of Shield. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this was a big deal. Like even bigger than the damage in Avengers. You know what I mean? Because they were just like they didn't know what to do anymore. So I like that part of this movie. Um, yeah, everything with Bucky and Cap was really good. Introducing Sam was cool in this movie too, because he's always been a cool character, and now he's Captain America. So, um, but yeah, this one's always been well received. I never heard anyone not like this movie.
Yeah, I remember the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. thing because I was watching it week to week at that point, and I got really sick the weekend that this movie came out, so I didn't get to see this opening weekend. And then we had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. the following week, and all of a sudden there's this huge Hydra reveal, and I was like, "Is that the movie?"
Yep.
Yep.
So I got that spoiled for me by the show because I didn't get to see it opening weekend.
But I totally agree with Adelia. I think the acting was really good. Robert Redford knocked it out of the park. That man usually does whenever he gets the chance to do things. I can't believe he wasn't even in more stuff during his older career, but he's possibly like kind of retired. Probably didn't want to do a lot of projects. So it might not have been people not wanting him to do things. It might have been him not wanting to do things.
Yeah.
But yeah, he knocked it out of the park in here. I thought I agree with Matt as well. Like the Falcon being introduced, I thought they did him pretty good in the movie here as like extra character that can help out towards the end. I liked the stuff with the Winter Soldier, but and I liked all the intrigue. There was a lot of things to like in this movie. There's not a lot of things to me that you can like totally hate on. Maybe there were a couple things you can dislike, and we'll talk about them in just a minute. But yeah, there were uh, pretty cool moments in this film. Man, I'm gonna get my actual favorite moment was him sitting bedside next to Peggy.
That was a great moment.
Like him going and visiting her, and then that terrified moment of when like I think she sneezes or something like that, and it kind of like knocks her out of like her coherent moment, and she just has to relive the fact that like he shows back up, and she's thinking it's the first time she saw him again,
Hmm.
and things like that, and how like crazy that's got to be for him, like being in that situation and stuff like that. Uh, like that was actually a really super cool moment. One of the few moments trying to look back at most of these films now where they actually let breathe a little bit, actually let I think sink in. I wish they would have done more uh, with that kind of situation, you know, like and how he was like handling that, to be honest with you. But yeah, I thought that was like really cool, a really grounded moment that a lot of people can sink their teeth into and stuff, and like, uh, and they let it be serious. There wasn't like a joke, you know, during it or right after it or anything like that. And
Yeah.
and that I think became the problem. I think everything had to be a joke as we keep going further and further and further into these films. I think it gets worse, worse, and worse. But it wasn't bad in this movie. Like there were, I thought this movie. The reason why I think a lot of people like it is, yeah, there were some like funny moments you could giggle at certain situations here and there, but it was in between a bunch of stuff that was like super serious, and they played those moments seriously. You know, like I
Yeah.
could say the only serious moment they did like a little bit of a joke, but I actually understand it, and it's not one of those bad jokes. Was the elevator scene, which is also pretty cool, where Cap's in the middle of all these Hydra people, and he's realizing it, and then he says like, "Hey, before we get this started, anybody want to get off?"
Yeah.
Like that was kind of a joke, but it was like a serious style joke that kind of does fit the scene, kind
Hmm.
of does fit the Captain America and stuff like that. So, but yeah, like a lot of positives. We can jump into some of the negatives. I'm going to start off with mine. Just go ahead, get it out of the way. Listen, when I'm grading these, some of these movies are going to have a lower score than I wanted them to. All right, because I've got a new way that I'm grading it. You're for every fake death that happens in one of these films, you get a .5 deduction. And we got two in this movie. We got Nick Fury, and we even got one towards the end there. I'm not even going to count Captain America as one because that was like something you knew was going to happen or whatever. So I'm not counting that
That
one.
wasn't a fake death.
That one. That's what I'm saying. I'm not counting it.
Yeah.
But I am
Who's the
counting.
second?
I am counting the Black Widow. She gets that thing. It's supposed to be like sacrificing herself, and then they have the whole. She's laying there, not moving for a minute, and Nick Fury's like, "Oh, don't leave me, don't leave me," and then she like blinks or whatever and opens her eyes. Man, get out of here, bro. All right, two fake deaths in there, and I will say this:
What about the
I do.
Nazis? What about the Nazi scientists?
Well, that guy. I mean, he was already dead. I mean, we're not counting that guy. I mean, that dude. He got
He's in
brought
the
back from
computer
another movie. You know
system.
what I'm saying?
He's
But it
in the
was only
computer.
his mental capabilities that was brought back. But I will say this now: I love Romanoff. I love Black Widow as a character. She's actually one of my favorite characters, and I really wish that they would sit down and do a fucking actually real Black Widow movie and don't take the damn gloves off. Don't over here. I would love to see like an origin of her being what she had to be, but you have to be nasty and ugly and dirty if you do that. It can't be
Yeah, they can't
sanitized,
they can't do
right?
that in a PG-13 movie.
Right, exactly. It needs to be a rated R, serious movie. I would love to see
They're
that.
never going to do that.
Right, I would love. I still can love to see it.
Yeah, you can love
Deal
to
you.
see it. I would love
Yeah,
to see it, but they're never
but
going to do that.
with that being said, I do think she could. Like, I think she was there for a couple of moments, but to me, I don't think she had to be in this movie. I think you could have just focused on like Falcon being introduced, Captain America. Captain America technically could have did everything that he ended up doing alongside her
I
by himself.
disagree.
But it's just because of the fact, like there was that weird, like there was a couple of times to me it was kind of weird, uh, where she almost has like, are they getting into a relationship? Uh, like a couple of moments, and I'm like, well, no, that's not right. Like, and then it kind of to me, it's like the whole Peggy thing at the beginning or whatever. Like, I didn't need to see him like. And I don't think it was on like his character and stuff like that. I don't think it was like egregious. I don't think it was like super bad. But but like I said, I love Black Widow, so I thought they could have probably had some other things in there, but I don't really want to say she felt forced either. So it's not like
She
super
didn't.
egregious. I'm not like super mad in there. It makes sense that she would be around and stuff like that, but like a lot of the stuff, like I said, I felt, and like I said, Delia, you can like push back on it, but I just felt like a lot of the things like she was involved in, like when they go to that thing, like Captain America could have did that,
Go to what
um,
thing?
the
There's many
hidden,
things. You have to
yeah,
be specific.
the when they like the stuff like when they found the hidden little base or whatever that was the old school base that had the
He
scientists
couldn't have
intelligence in it.
done that by
What,
himself.
what
Got
are you talking
out
about?
of the situation he was in, escaped from Shield or
Well,
Hydra
he had to
who's
save
hunting him
her.
down. Yeah, he had
He,
to save her there cuz they threw bombs at the building.
well, I mean, I know that, but I'm just saying, like, he could have. What are you talking about? He couldn't escape there.
They could not get out of DC. That town was crawling with Hydra agents looking for Captain America, who had just escaped the Shield headquarters. She got him into disguise, covered for him when he was starting to get nervous, talked to the guy at the Apple store about what they were doing there to use the computer to find the location they were trying to get
Did the
to,
kid?
all
I
of
see what
that.
you're saying.
He
Like,
couldn't have
also
done that on his own.
done like the kiss thing. I mean, well, technically they could have did the thing a little, set up
That's
a
when
little different.
her abilities as a spy came out. She knew what to do. He didn't have a clue because he wasn't a spy.
I mean, I can kind of see that. Like you said, like she came up with like, oh, you got to the whole like hold my hand, laugh at something I'm saying, and then the whole like kiss thing too when they're going down the escalator. Could be things that like that's the reason that helps him, get out of the situation and stuff like that. Like I
Hmm.
said, I wasn't that pissed. I ain't like overly mad. I'm more mad
No,
about the fake death
I'm not
man myself.
saying that you're mad about it or anything. I just think Natasha is the perfect character. As out of all of the Avengers, she's the perfect one to have as like his cohort in this movie and this mission that it ends up being. They get Sam's help. She knows how to get the wings and everything for Sam. Like they couldn't have done this movie without Natasha.
What? Because like one character to me that never really got a lot of play, like in the actual things. What if Natasha technically was, if they would have used, and she's in this movie, and I can't remember her name to save my life, but uh, the lady who has been in pretty much all the movies with the brown hair, the longer brown hair. Um,
Kobe Smulders, who plays Maria Hill.
yeah, maybe that's who I'm talking about. But anyway, like uh, could have used her in that position and gave her like some screen time.
I don't know that Hill's a spy though. She's Fury's right hand woman.
She could have definitely did all the technical stuff to be able to find out what they needed to find out, like a couple of the things that Black Widow did. You
Yeah,
might be right
maybe
about
some
the
of
spy
those, but
thing or whatever.
I don't know if she could have done the spy stuff.
I mean, she is kind of supposed to be like a badass character, but
Yeah, Maria Hill is a badass character. I'm still mad about how she died. But
In my opinion, she needed to be there because she's willing to do the things that Captain America won't.
exactly.
Like when they were on the boat and she took those plans or whatever for Fury, like Captain America wouldn't have done that. He easily could have put a drive in there and copied it, but it was something that he wouldn't do. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So they need someone that will do what he won't and also keep tabs on him. I think she's his handler. You know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah.
no one else. I mean, there are other people that could probably do that job, but probably not better.
I think that Natasha has trust from Fury that a lot of the agents at Shield wouldn't have to take care of things like this, because remember in Iron Man 2 when somebody needs to look after Tony, he sends Natasha. He doesn't send anybody else.
you know what? I mean, I think that even makes sense for like story purposes and stuff, just because of the fact that I think people let their guard down around her because she isn't like some superhero. I mean, they know that she can do some things, but I do think they put their guard down because she's just like she's a civilian that can do more badass things than most civilians, kind of situation where
Mhm.
she's like, she's just a woman, right? She's not like some super hero with some kind of innate special ability. She's just somebody who's like a badass in her own way that can like sneak around, do some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. All right. But yeah, my biggest negatives, to be honest with you, was like I touched on that one thing that I happened to notice, but it wasn't a big thing. Where it was like Captain America was like, boom, knocked the home dude away, and he was like, and then
Yeah.
like you see his
That
face, and Captain America's still standing there.
That's an editing mistake. That's all that is.
It made me laugh though. I laughed. Like it didn't
Yeah.
like kill it for me or anything. It was just a funny thing I happened to notice this time watching it, which is cool. That's something that I didn't notice. Like I said, like in the couple of times that I'd watch it beforehand, I guess I wasn't paying attention as hard about it. But yeah, not to me. That's about it. As far as that goes, it's one of the better movies in the MCU. It's probably I don't really have them all ranked, but uh, they'll probably be in my top five. If not, it's pretty darn close, and that's 30 something movies, so that's pretty good. But Adelia, like negatives or like feedback or whatever critiques you may have about the film.
I don't like the use of Sharon Carter in this film. I get that she's like been assigned to be like Cap's watcher in his apartment building or whatever, but she doesn't really do much. And she doesn't really do much in the next Captain America movie either. And then we don't see her again until Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and she's a bad guy. So I feel like Sharon Carter is an interesting character to have in Cap's life because she's Peggy's great niece, and there's an attempt at building romantic tension between them that leads to a kiss between them in Civil War, but like just her overall use in the MCU is just really poor in
You
my
know what I just
opinion.
thought of?
What?
Me and you brought up two characters that we thought, I don't know. And like I said, I agree with the some of the pushback you guys had on when I said that about Natasha. But thinking about what you just said right now, and because I wasn't thinking in the future about some of the things that she may, what would have made her progression and stuff cool if she would have fit that Natasha style. If they could have
Yeah.
made her like a little bit of a spy, right? And you don't know a lot about her, and she's like with Captain America during this whole thing that goes down. She's the character that he saves one time, so then it makes if they do have some kind of relationship later, makes that even stronger because he saved her life at that moment, like that kind of thing. If you would have actually used her in Natasha's place, the entire movie basically, right? Maybe had Natasha make a cameo appearance for like one or two little things or something, but like the whole like the kiss scene, right? Like when they're going down the escalator, if that wouldn't have been Natasha, if that would have been her, as you look into the future, that would have gave you more of a character development for the things like you were talking about, the things that she happens to play parts in later on. Like when she later on, because I forgot that Captain America even like I forgot who she was. I didn't even know she was like kin to Peggy or like any lineage to Peggy at all. Period. Like to be honest with you, even watching this movie, I didn't catch it.
They don't
When I watched
mention it
it,
in this
right?
movie. You don't
But
find out in the movies that she's Peggy's great niece until Peggy's funeral at the beginning of
you
Civil
know how
War.
cool that would have been? It would have fit in with the Peggy moment at the beginning of the film. But
Mhm.
if that lady would have played Natasha's part, like I said, mainly Natasha's part, they would have had the kissing scene on the elevator, like the fake, we got to act like we're boyfriend, girlfriend for a second to get out of here. They had a little bit of a moment in the car ride to where they were going when they got to the base. They got to that base and he's talking about being there and everything else. And maybe she doesn't know every little bitty thing because obviously like she's a little bit down. She's not like, her daughter, or anything like that. She's a family member, but so maybe she doesn't know the complete story. And then she could bust out like right before he has to save her life. She busts out with like, I know about this place because you said who is she supposed to be to her?
She's Peggy's great niece.
Right. So like my aunt used to be at this same place because she was. That's how her and Captain America met because they were at the
Mhm.
training camp. So like she could have let it be known that, and then he kind of looks at her, and puts like maybe two and two together, and then like he has to save her life and stuff. So like later on in the story in one of the other movies, when they do have this kind of like almost serious relationship, you're like, oh man, badass. And then when she turns out to be the bad guy, it's like, oh shit, like kind of moment. Yeah, that's something they probably could have like changed, and I think would have been pretty cool. I see you're nodding your head. I mean, do you kind of agree with that?
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think that they could have done a lot better with Sharon's character, and I like what you were just talking about there. Um, you know, Natasha have Natasha on another assignment, but she checks in on Steve and give Sharon most of Natasha's part in this movie, and I think it would make a lot of sense and help with Sharon as a character a lot.
Yeah, because I do think some of the failings with the MCU has to do with those heartfelt moments. Has to do with like the moments that's supposed to tug at your heartstrings. And this
Mm-hmm.
movie, that's why a lot of people like it, I think, is because it does have a couple of moments. It does have that moment with him with Peggy, you know, at the beginning of the movie. And then I do think they play the, you know, him and Bucky and stuff and their relationship, and then he's like having to fight Bucky at the end. Like I do think they do that stuff pretty well in this film. But I think in a lot of their other films, it doesn't play as good because they don't spend as enough time to like really dive into or sink their teeth into those like special moments and everything. And then you don't hit them very well. And I've said this before. One of the underrated movies I think of almost all time, especially here recently, and people that watch it end up loving it and talk about how good it is. Maybe it's not their favorite movie, but they do enjoy it. Is the newest D&D movie, a Dungeons and Dragons movie that came out, Honor Among Thieves, because in that movie you have a cast of characters kind of like, you know, you would see in a Marvel movie, and they do have those funny moments and stuff, but like when they have serious moments in there, when they're telling the story in a serious way, it's serious. Like the end of that movie will bring like, you know, tears to your eyes, like watching it, because of the fact that like they did spend those moments, those quality moments, to tell a part of a story that's super serious and you really can dive into. It wasn't just about the funny action and stuff like that that happened during the film. It was also about this really good story that was being told during the whole thing that they let play out and didn't try to make fun of the whole time. Matt, you're the biggest critic on here.
Mm-hmm.
We call your nickname's the roaster because he be roasting these things. There's movies, I ain't lying to you guys.
Kenny Rogers.
Listen, there is movies. Matt, I don't know what Matt's going to give this final score, but there are movies that Matt's watched, and he talks about how much he likes them, and then we start talking about the movie, and there's like 50 things he hates about the movie. So, Matt, tell us the 50 things you hate about this movie, but why you still like it afterwards.
I'll just start with the 51st.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I mean you have to be really nitpicky on this movie to like say anything really. But after watching it today, the only thing I'll say is there's no way in the world, like I said it to Ferris too, there's no way in the world that Fury's car would have been drivable after all those gunshots and that ramming in the car. I was like, dude,
because I deal with cars in real life. Nah, it wouldn't happen.
Yeah, it's like, dude, if those bullets got through, then they're hitting something on the inside. You know what I mean? That's gonna make sense. Because when I brought it up, Ferris was like, "Yeah, but they could have had like stronger vehicle parts." I was like,
No.
"Ferris, you know how many parts are in a car?" I was like, "There's like thousands of parts." Like,
and do you know how many parts that are critical? Like that's the problem.
Yeah.
How many parts of that car that is critical? Maybe you could get it to limp, but you're not going to get it to do the stuff that it was doing, especially after they wreck it and everything else. Like it's not happening. You're not doing none of that crap right there. And that's, I've said this time and time before, like, bro, the reason why you forgive that kind of stuff is because the rest of the movie's so good. The rest of the movie's so fun. Most of it makes sense. There's no like obvious things that are happening and stuff that you can kind of like roll your eyes at. There are a couple of moments, but then like you remember, oh yeah, like the elevator scene. No one person's getting out of that, but he's Captain America, so he's not like a normal person. So you have to be like, oh yeah, that's right. That's why he could kick all those guys' asses and then jump out the damn window and like land and fall and still be able to move around afterwards. You know what I'm saying? Like those kind of things. But
you know what I thought was the dumbest part of that scene? Where the dude had the handle come off his suitcase and it made it like a handcuff that kept him magnetized to the wall. I was like, what kind of invention is that? Where can that come in handy? Like that's the dumbest thing I've seen. She just had cuffs on him or something. Like,
yeah.
I can't remember them now because they wasn't super big, but there was a couple of moments I was like, I wonder if Matt's going to remember this. Like I want, because there were a couple of other things I just can't think of them because they wasn't like super big, to where I was also like, bro, that's some bullshit.
Yeah,
get out of here. Like even in Super World of Marvel, that was some bullshit. That ain't happening, bro.
Well, that's especially the thing with Fury's car too, like how he escaped. Like you're telling me he just cut through the car and like all the street, and where the fuck did he go? Like who knows what the fuck is there? This guy just fucking left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's like even the people that Captain America is being super strong, beating the shit out of, that you see later on in the movie, that can still walk around. Like, nah, dog, they're all not like superhumans or anything. Like, they'd get really damn hurt. I mean, think about the power that like Captain America's punching you with.
Yeah.
Like, you ain't, bro, you ain't getting up from that unless you taking some super serum or some shit, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
him fighting the Winter Soldier is obvious. I thought it was cool, the interaction, because like usually when you have these movies, you'll have like the good guy have to go up against a bad guy that maybe has like his kryptonite, so to say. I thought it was cool that they used Bucky's arm as the kryptonite for the shield.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time Captain America tried to use like the shield and whatnot, 99% of the time it was either blocked or held by the arm of the Winter Soldier. And I thought that was like really cool how they did that. You can also see, I don't know what year, not the, I almost said the Matrix, but I don't know what year the first John Wick movie came out. But I'm almost saying that John Wick may have came out before this, the first one. I
I'll
think
tell you in a minute.
I think Adelia's doing the same thing I'm doing right now. I'm just
No,
curious.
this came out after.
Okay. Like how? Let me see. What was the actual date?
Winter Soldier came out April 4th. John Wick came out in October of
So
2014.
the same year.
Same year.
So it's almost like our boys over here at Marvel, to me, and a couple of motions that Winter Soldier does, saw some of the highlights, right? Saw a
Well,
trailer, saw some John Wickness going on, and they're like, "Bro, we got to throw a little bit of that in there," because there's a couple of moments where he's like shooting the guns, blocking the shield, and doing that kind of stuff that felt a little John Wickish there. So
I don't know if it was this movie or another one, but Marvel definitely had the directors of John Wick come in to sort of like help direct the action on one of these
I
movies. I
doubt it
don't know
was
if it
this
was this
film.
one.
I doubt it was this film, although because of their release times, they both of these movies could have been done. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and then they could have came in and helped. But it was almost like they
Mm-hmm.
saw like some pre-roll, some pre-roll. I'm gonna get technical here or whatever of like the John Wick movie, and they were like, "Bro, let's throw a couple of moves in there." Because I like both fights that Captain America and Winter Soldier have in this film. I
Just
thought
to
they were
put it
done
out there
really
real
well.
quick, it's not about Captain America, but I think the best fighting they've ever done in Marvel is in Shang-Chi. That shit, the choreography in that
There was
was
some
cool.
cool stuff
Oh,
in
it
there.
was
Yeah,
Civil War that had help from the John Wick directors.
nice,
Mm.
nice. But yeah, overall good. Let's go through and give our like final verdicts and all that good stuff. We'll start off with you, Adelia.
I
One
said it
out
at
of
the
five because we're
beginning.
doing the list.
Yeah, doing the letterbox thing. I'm gonna update the letterbox this week. I've been a little behind. A lot's been going on. But
Yeah, with all of it, people being sick, family stuff, all kinds of things going
I
on.
just want it all to be over now. Hopefully, everyone's out of the hospital. Everything else is taken care of. Hopefully, everything's back to normal around here. But this is a 5 out of 5 for me. My flaws that I find with the movie don't take it down from that. I'm not saying it's perfect just because I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. This was my favorite MCU movie until Endgame. Endgame surpassed it, but not by much. I love this movie a lot. I just I remember it really, really well because it stuck with me. I haven't seen this movie in a while, and I just did all this from memory. So yeah.
It may change for me, but I remember like the first time I watched it, since we're going through and doing a rewatch, so maybe something will change. But uh, Civil War, I thought I've always liked a little better than this one, just because I like some of the things that happened in Civil War. But I'm not as high on you on Endgame. I loved Infinity War.
Yeah, Infinity War is good. Infinity War is my
Right.
3.
All right,
You can
Matt.
see,
Oh
hold
yeah, go
on,
ahead.
you can see my full list of all the MCU projects that I've watched on our letterbox. There's a list, it's my rankings. Check it out.
Nice, Matt. What you got?
Justin, are you sitting down?
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna give this one a 5 out of 5 also. Just cause
Mm.
you have to give some movies a 5 out of 5. Like you can't
Hey,
everything can't be deducted. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna say this is perfect either, but like show me something better. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this movie's great. 5 out of 5. There's one thing though I'm gonna say. I wish they would have shown after Fury like dug that tunnel, and left. If they would
Yeah.
have just had Winter Soldier like drop a grenade down there, just to do it. Like, I don't know. Why not?
Blow up the whole street block. Who cares?
When you asked me if I was sitting down because of our thing we were talking about in Discord, I thought you was going to tell me something about the chicken coming to town.
Oh my God.
Boy, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, look, I'm sticking to my word.
Join the Discord. There's a link in the description.
This movie was going to get a 4.5, but I'm sticking to my word. I said at the very beginning of this recording, we're getting the negative 0.2, and we're giving a whole point deduction for 2 fake deaths in this film.
I don't think the Black Widow thing is a fake death, but whatever.
That's a fake ass death, man. She's laying over there, stone cold dead. We got Fury over there about to give her CPR.
Didn't she just stun herself?
She did that electrocutal thing, and then Fury standing. Now, listen, if it would have happened, and then she would have kind of got up and said, "All this hurt," I would not have said it was a fake death. But Fury's over Romanoff, no, get up.
Did Fury? Like I said, I haven't watched this movie for this episode.
Yeah,
again,
does.
Does he? No, I'm not saying he doesn't do that. I'm saying, does he see what happened to her to make her be passed out?
Yeah, he sees it.
Okay.
Because that thing was supposed to possibly kill her, but she does something, I guess, that does it to where she doesn't.
Oh, the little pin
that
thing.
thing's on her still,
yeah.
And she so it was supposed to be a play on she's sacrificing herself so that he'll be vulnerable, so Nick Fury can kill the guy that's the ultimate bad guy in the film. Mm-hmm. So so that's what was playing out. But yeah, it is. We're gonna get. You know what? I just can't
believe you're gonna give this movie a 4, Justin.
Well, it was going to a 3.5 because my high bar was 4.5. It's hard for me to give
3.5 for this movie. Come on,
I'll say a 4. I'm going to give it the 4, right? I'm going to give it a 4 because I will sort of agree that the Black Widow, the Natasha thing wasn't as bad as a pure fake death. It wasn't as bad. They didn't linger there too long and everything else. So
Fury, I will give you, was a fake death.
That was a fake ass death, bro.
I'm going to argue with you on some of these fake deaths you seem to think we have.
I have a feeling I'm going to have more of them to talk about because I did not listen before we even started this rewatch. I didn't think it got bad until the end of the series, but we've already had fake deaths galore already in the first 5-6 films here.
No, we haven't. But okay,
bro. Matt lives right there in LA. He's one of the fake deaths. He was in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
mm-hmm. I didn't come back till Endgame.
Yeah, he didn't come back till the snap. And the first snap didn't even take him out. He was already taken out.
Mm-hmm.
That makes no sense. That makes absolutely no sense.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching.
But wait, just wait. You gave it a 4 out of 5, right?
Yeah.
Well, what's the letter score? I got to know the letter score.
Oh, yeah, you are right. 4 out of 5. That's an A-.
Yes!
A-.
And 80% is an A-. Okay. Justin's ever-evolving letter grades.
Weird. See, I would have gave a 4.5, a straight A, and then a perfect 5 would be the A+. Right? That's how I'm looking at it with the score being 1 through 5.
See, so a 4.5 would be a 90%, which would be an A-.
No. You would have that 4.5 would be a straight up A, not the A-, not the A+, and then the 5 would have been the A+. So I'm at the lower end of the A score here because I'm giving it a 4. So I'm at an A-.
That
so
makes
we're
no
talking
sense.
about a 92 and a 93. Right. And then if I would have said a 4.5, we're a 95, 96 level. And then obviously a 5 would be 100%. 100. Knocking it out.
I'm just going to say, Justin, I wish you were my teacher when I was in school.
Bro, I'm going to tell you right now, if you could have made me laugh every now and then, I'd have gave you a better grade than you deserved. To be honest with you.
All right.
Got 150% on this one, Mom.
Because let's be clear, Matt always makes Justin laugh. In our Discord voice chats, you can join the Discord. Again, link in the description.
Hey, just like a bell curve, sometimes you got to pay the toll. See that move?